Hey man, how are you doing? Oh, hello. We have not got in touch for a while. Things are not very good. I thought I had found the love of my life, but now everything is going downhill, huh? What is your new girlfriend and what is happening to you? Do you remember Flora? Not really. Banks, that's quite a story. I have enough time to listen to you. Okay, so Flora and I have a long history together. We actually dated in our teens and were together for a while before I moved away for study. It was tough leaving her, but we decided to stay friends and tried to make it work. Staying in touch wasn't too hard at first. We talked on the phone and sent emails to each other a few times a year. It was nice to catch up and see how each other was doing. But then I moved to Tokyo and things got a little bit more complicated. We lost touch for a while, and it was tough. Tokyo, huh? What was that like? Living in Tokyo was an amazing experience for me. I mean, the culture shock was intense, but I loved every minute of it. It was such a challenge to adjust to a new place and way of life, but it was also incredibly rewarding. And let's be real, the women in Tokyo were something else. I mean, they were absolutely stunning, but I made it clear from the beginning that I wasn't looking for anything serious. I was there to have fun and explore a new city, not to settle down. I bet that was hard to resist. So, when did you and Flora start talking seriously again? When my contract in Tokyo was up, I came back home to visit my parents, and that's when I ran into Flora again. It was like no time had passed at all. We just picked up right where we left off, talking and laughing like old times. But there was something different this time around. We started talking more seriously, and it was like we both knew that we wanted something more. And before I knew it, we were dating again. Oh, I understand. It was a bit surreal at first, but it felt so natural to be with her again. We had both grown and changed so much over the years, but at the same time, we were still the same two people who had fallen in love all those years ago. Unfortunately, things started to fall apart between Flora and me after we slept together. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. Huh? What happened? When Flora found out about my closeness experience, she was pretty surprised. I mean, I didn't tell her the exact number, but I think she was expecting me to be less experienced than I was. I get it. It can be tough when you feel like your partner has had more experience than you. Yeah, I think it created some trust issues between us, and it was tough to shake that feeling of doubt. But for me, I knew that I could be faithful to Flora. I loved her and wanted to build a life together with her. But I think that seed of doubt had been planted, and it was tough to overcome. That's understandable. It can be hard to come clean about things like that. You're right. But then something else happened that shocked me. What was it? Tell me about it. Maybe I can give you some advice. So, I went over to Flora's house with the plan of hanging out with her and her cousin Tammy. We were all having a good time, chatting away and catching up, when all of a sudden, Flora asked if she could speak to me alone. Tammy didn't seem fazed by it, and quickly headed off into another room. But I couldn't help but feel a little bit worried about what Flora wanted to talk about. This is the peak moment. Turns out, Flora was feeling a little bit insecure about our closeness compatibility. She thought that I was way more experienced than her, and that she was holding me back in that department. I reassured her that we could work on things together and just have open and honest conversations about our close lives. But then, she slapped me with a curveball. What she said, "Have you ever considered an open relationship?" she asked me. I was completely taken aback. I mean, I thought we were happy and in love. Why on earth would she suggest something like that? She explained that she wanted to gain more experience in a closeness way, but that she only loved me and that it wouldn't change our relationship. How did you respond to her request? Honestly, when Flora brought up the idea of an open relationship, my mind went blank. I mean, I was not expecting that at all. I tried to keep an open mind and understand her point of view, but it just didn't sit well with me. How to understand this? I understand you. At the end, I knew that I loved Flora and wanted to be with her, and the idea of an open relationship just didn't fit into that plan. I mean, I couldn't even begin to imagine sharing her with anyone else. So I had to put my foot down on that one. I told her that I didn't support the idea of an open relationship and that I didn't think it would work for us. That's understandable. It sounds like a really tough situation to be in. Yeah, I remember feeling so angry when Flora brought up the idea of an open relationship. It was like a punch to the gut. And in the heat of the moment, I lashed out at Tammy, blaming her for the whole situation. Looking back, I realized that it probably wasn't fair to Tammy. She had nothing to do with it. I was just so caught up in my emotions that I needed someone to blame. But at the time, it felt like the right thing to do. So what happened after that? After Flora suggested an open relationship, we argued for what felt like hours, and eventually I just couldn't take it anymore. I stormed off to the guest room to sleep. And how did you two eventually resolve this issue? After the argument, things were pretty tense between Flora and me. She was starting a night shift at work, so we had some time apart to cool down and think. It wasn't easy being apart, but we both needed some space to process our emotions. You two needed to cool off a bit. During that time, Flora would leave dinner in the fridge for me every day with a sweet note that said, "I love you." It was a small gesture, but it meant a lot. We also texted each other frequently, but I have to admit, my responses were pretty short. I was still hurt and angry, and I didn't know how to move forward. Oh, I understand. Maybe try talking to her again. You will have to discuss it anyway, I know. But it's so hard. Okay, do as you see fit, and as your heart tells you, keep me posted on what's going on there. Banks, I can't believe this. Huh? What happened? Things got really confusing and stressful for me when I found out that Flora had made a hotel reservation near my office. I noticed an email notification on her account for a hotel reservation, and at first I thought she was maybe trying to surprise me with a night out or something, but when I asked her about it, she seemed completely clueless. Oh, God! It was such a weird and unsettling feeling, like I knew something was up, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. I tried to talk to her about it, but she just kept denying that anything was wrong. It was a crazy situation. Yeah, and after I found out about the hotel reservation, my friend Paul suggested that we go to the hotel to see if Flora was really there. At first, I was hesitant because I didn't know if I wanted to see her, but eventually, we decided to go. I think you did the right thing. Everything must be checked and known to the end. Maybe so we ended up going to the hotel restaurant for lunch, and I was on edge the entire time. I just had this feeling in the pit of my stomach that something was wrong. And then, while we were there, we saw her at the front desk checking in. It was like a punch to the gut. I didn't know what to do. Should I confront her? Should I just leave? And what did you do? It was a tough moment for me when I saw Flora at the hotel. All of my emotions just came flooding out, and I was so hurt and angry that I couldn't even think straight. I remember waiting until she got in the elevator, and then I went to the front desk and called her room. When she answered, I just started yelling at her. I told her that I was done with the relationship and that I couldn't be with someone who didn't respect me enough to be honest. Jian, that must have been a really tough time for you. Yes, that's why I'm going to leave town. I can't be here anymore. Did Flora try to contact you somehow? Oh, yeah, and not just once. She wrote and called me 200 times, but I did not answer her. I just wrote to you and Dad. And how did your dad react to your breakup after the breakup with Flora? I was really struggling. I remember calling my dad and talking to him about everything that had happened. He was really understanding and supportive, which meant a lot to me, even though he was crushed by what had happened. He still had hope that we could work things out, but at that moment, I just needed time and space to figure things out for myself. I needed to focus on my own well-being and figure out what I wanted in a relationship moving forward. I understand. So where are you flying to? I'm flying to Bali the day after tomorrow. It's a place of pure paradise where calm and tranquility await me. To truly disconnect and make the most of my time there, I've decided to turn off my phone and SIM card for the duration of my stay, which will be around 6 months. I'm even planning on buying a new one there, just so I'm not tempted to check my messages or scroll through social media. I'll make sure to write to you as soon as I get settled so that we don't lose touch. Oh, cool! Good luck and waiting for a souvenir, LOL. Oh, finally, you turned on your phone. Where have you been? Why did you disappear like this? I was so worried about you, my love. Hey, what do you want? Why are you so... I missed you so much. Oh, really? Definitely. We haven't seen each other for half a year. Shall we meet? Where? How about a hotel near my office? You're being unfair to me. Yeah? In what way? I didn't do anything wrong. I just wanted to gain some experience for you. I went to a hotel with a guy from Tinder, and it was supposed to be just a one-night stand, nothing more. I told you about it when we talked. When we talked about this, I told you that I am against open relationships. Against. And I even explained why. What didn't you understand then? But why? There's nothing wrong with it. People do it sometimes. An open relationship is like having closeness with someone else while your partner waits for you at home without any guilt. It's disgusting, to be honest. I told you before that I didn't want that in our relationship. What did you do? You went and satisfied your desires with a guy from Tinder. That's it. Oh, and by the way, I have a girlfriend now, so please don't text me again. Girlfriend? What do you mean? I mean exactly that. I was in Bali and met a beautiful girl. We came back to the city together. We're planning to get married soon, so don't even think about doing anything. Our relationship and connection in the past. In the past? You're terrible. I wasted so much time on you. Well, that's too bad for you. Goodbye, Flora. After I came back from Bali, Flora went into full stalker mode and tried to track me down. She called all our friends and acquaintances to try and find out where I lived. And unfortunately, someone spilled the beans. So one day, when I was walking home, I saw her waiting for me outside my house. She started trying to get me to talk and even tried to kiss me, but I wasn't having it. When that didn't work, she got all mad and threw a stone at my window. I tried to reason with her and told her to stop, but she just grabbed another stone. That's when I knew I had to call the cops. They came and took her to the station, and I have no idea what happened after that. Frankly, I don't care. I'm getting married soon, and Flora and her crazy stories are just a thing of the past for me.